There's just thousands of those things. Oh, we need a new build system because EA adopted that. Or there's so much tech that gets absorbed that you just have to take on. And all of a sudden, half your schedule is gone because, of the game being so giant. To maintain it, each year takes a ton of effort. And so that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. And as a consumer, I wouldn't either, and I don't want to. I don't care. I want the team to just figure that out and deal with it.
Right.
What's going on, man? This your boy MD20 checking in once again. SNN Simulation News Network, seeing headlines, seeing heads tonight. Put your views up, man. Finally decided to come out with my part 3 of my Death of the Sim community series. And before I get to the meat of this video, I want to say shouts out to the community. I think I made it pretty clear what I mean by Death of the Sim community by now. If you still don't know, you lost. You know what I'm saying? When I say Death of the Sim community, I'm talking about the concept of what Sim was. That's all I'm merely talking about. When I say Death of the Sim community, I'm talking about the lost art of everybody coming together with a conclusion as a unit. You know what I'm saying? When I say Death of the Sim community, I mean the dialogue between each individual as pertains to whatever subject we're talking about and whatever video initiated that subject. When I mean Death of the Sim community, I mean cohesiveness, point blank period. Will that ever happen again? I don't know. Thus, Death of the Sim community. But at the end of the day, all we can do is get our points across. I urge anyone to argue the point and not the player. You know what I'm saying? Once that can be done sufficiently, I think everything will start going on the right path. But hey, that's just me. On to today's video, which is Death of the Sim Community Part 3, Customers in Bondage. Now, what I mean by customers in bondage, we just heard Ian Cummins in the latest Operation Sports podcast. I was informed by this podcast through Coach Ruckus. Shouts out to Coach Ruckus. He hit me up, gave me a link to this podcast, and basically explained to me, hey, look, this is what we're talking about in terms of the development process and what it takes to try to create this quote-unquote simulation football game, and which I understand. No question, I understand that it's a strenuous process, and you have to take all these factors in consideration, which is time, management issues, all this. I understand this, but what I try to urge to Ruckus, and what I pose a question to each and every one of you is, what does that have to do with you as a customer? Now, we heard what Ian Cummins just said, in said podcast. Basically, don't quote me, I just played the clip, but people don't understand what the developers go through in terms of all these factors that are laid in the backdrop of them trying to create this game. But as a consumer, why should I care? And the answer is I shouldn't, because that's not up for me to care about. And that leads me on to the two types of consumers we have in this quote-unquote simulation community. You know what I'm saying? You have your customer of concept versus your customer of conclusion. Now, what I mean by customer and concept versus customer of conclusion. Customer and concept. Let's talk about customer and concept for 1 second. A customer of concept is critiquing the product, being concerned about the product. Now, once again, I'm talking about the same community, nothing more, nothing less. Critique the product show concern about the product as anybody else would do in this community. Not knocking. But at the end of the day, as a customer, they are purchasing the product, doing whatever they have to do in regards to the product, solely based on the concept. And what is the concept? The concept is football. Look at that in terms of simulation. You know, at the end of the day, can we honestly say that the game is simulating football? In many, probably most of the factors, yes, you could say that. So is it the same football game? At the end of the day, yes it is. A lot of people nowadays are basing all of their rationale as it comes to the sim community on the concept. And this goes back to provide services in the community. Everybody provides service in the community. If you haven't seen my Deaf and Sim community series, please, I encourage you to go watch it. Everybody provides services in this community. No doubt, no question. And that's a good thing as far as uniting the community if that's what we want to do. But the difference between the customer of the concept and the customer of the conclusion is that the customer of the conclusion is looking at the final product. The customer conclusion is not looking at the intricacies of the development of the product. And I think that's where, you know, we're at a standstill with the progression of this community. You know, making breakdown videos, all that, once again, is very well needed. But without a conclusion, you're merely talking about the concept, which is football. You're not talking about the conclusion, which is the final product. You know what I'm saying? At one point in this community, we had got to the point where, hey, we were talking solely based on the final product. Solely based. We had got past our hatred for Ian Cummings and all of it. We were solely basing all our interpretations of simulation on the final product. Now, it's become based on opinion because we're looking at the intricacies of the development of the product, which has nothing to do with me because I'm merely a consumer. I don't have a dev kit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a moderator of any sort. There are only a select few people in this community that has that ability. So when you look at the customer of the concept versus the customer of the conclusion, at what point do we say, look, are we going to base all our assumptions or are we going to base all of our criticisms on the concept of the product, which is football, or are we going to base our assumptions and our criticisms based on the final product? You know what I'm saying? We know what football is already. Well, we should know. So the concept is already there, but it's a lot of people that's stuck on the concept right now. And we're relating the concept to the production of the final product. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense to anybody, I just want to make it known, hey look, we're not developers. You know what I'm saying? We're not IGN reviewers. We don't get special consideration when it comes to their product being critiqued. We don't. We're merely customers. You know what I'm saying? What type of customers are we? We're supposed to be sim heads. What's a sim head? It was solely basing the product on what we thought of it from a fundamental aspect. Everything else was pretty much null and void because we weren't talking about that. We weren't talking about Ultimate Team. We weren't talking about online franchise, connected career, connected franchise. We weren't talking about uniforms and stadium authenticity. We were talking about the fundamental aspect of the game. We were talking about technique. So, you know, like I said, I just wanted to put that out there. I'm going to put the link in the description if you haven't seen it yet. The Ian Cummings podcast off Operation Sports. I encourage everybody to go listen to it. And once again, I don't disagree with any other measures that Income has put out as far as the process of creating this game. I don't agree with none of that. But all I'm saying is this. What does that have to do with me as a customer? What does that have to do with me as a sim head? As a sim head, as that type of customer, I'm looking for this aspect in the game. If it is not there, check in with me, man.